Hello, hello, and welcome back to Wheel of Games. We're going to be playing our first game, Chosen by the Wheel. And we've got Deep Rock Galactic, one of my favorite games from the wheel. And of course, Felix immediately decides that he doesn't like me talking about it. Too bad, because I'm going to talk about it anyway. We've played this once before, and during that one I went through a very detailed sort of rules dump about how all the things work, so I'm going to try not to do nearly as much of that this time. We're going to be playing Mission 2. Last time we did Mission 1, which is pretty much the Greenbeard tutorial. And this one is called Unexplored Opportunities. Another promising cave system shows multiple Morkite deposits, as well as some very interesting alien fossils. We don't know the layout of the entire system, as scanners have failed to penetrate some of the cave walls. Get your butts down there and gather the Morkite and alien fossils. If you have time to spare to explore the hidden caves, you might find some weapon upgrades in there that were left behind by less fortunate dwarves. Our competitors sometimes want to beat us to the punch, but what they lack in patience, they make up for in sloppiness. Caution! The wildlife in this sector is showing a lot of activity. Looks like it might be mating season. The objective for this mission is to collect 6 Morkite and 4 alien fossils. And just a quick reminder, the Morkite are the green crystals. I haven't done the randomization for setting up where the fossils are going to be and where the different minerals are going to be in the cave. That'll be coming up pretty soon. But just so you know, we've got to collect all 4 of the alien fossils and all 6 of the Morkite. Looking over this cave system, what this one is trying to introduce to us are these new unexplored cave segments. And those are randomly chosen from a selection of, it looks like a total of 8 of them, but we don't know what they're going to be. I also rolled a die to determine if they needed to be rotated or anything like that while they were being placed. So we're going to be coming in pretty much at the center of the cave, sort of at this nexus point. We know that there's going to be some minerals around the outside, so we're going to have to enter those unexplored caves in order to get all the Morkite. There's just too much Morkite for us to get. We only have a couple of minor grunts on the board at the start, but whenever you break into one of these unexplored cave segments, when you flip it over, they can have bug spawns on them, like on the tile. That will immediately spawn some things in that are going to appear in there. Those cave segments have their own pits, their own random collectible things on them, and most of them have weapon upgrade slots on them, so if we encounter any of those, we'll randomly select one, put it face down in there, and then we can get some of those nice upgrades for our primary weapons. But some of the best ones are bonus dice for the weapons. Love those. So those are empty things, we just don't know what's in there yet. A reminder, all of the places that we haven't dug out are just solid rock. So 2 stormers, we've got 3 stalagmites on the field, and a couple of pits. Let me now, I'll randomize the positions for these things so that everything will be in the correct spot, and then I'll get into picking our dwarves and getting that set up ready. So be right back. Okay, and we're back. So, randomly put the minerals and the collectibles out there. I have no idea which 4 of those question marks have our alien fossils under them, but we have to collect all 4 of them, so we might have to go to all of those places. But we also have to pick up every piece of Morkite, which is going to force us into both of the currently undiscovered cave segments, as well as there's one sitting off the edge over there. So we're going to have to go pretty much everywhere on this mission. And the only other thing we need to know from the rulebook is the mission-specific event that's going to come up for this one is active glyphids. Place a grunt at a tunnel exit of your choice, then activate all creatures. I forgot to put the tunnel exits on. Tunnel exit number 1 is down here, and tunnel exit number 2 is up there. Those are the only spots that the bugs are going to be spawning throughout the scenario, but they are going to be starting on either side of where we're going to be entering into this one. Now, I haven't set up any of the dwarves yet, because I'm going to randomly determine how many dwarves we're going to play with. Anywhere between 1 and 4, actually. If we get just a single dwarf, then we get to bring Bosco with us, and I get to introduce some new rules for that. Remember, 4 isn't necessarily better, because the bugs move after every single dwarf. It's not after all 4 dwarves go. So what do we get? Well, I missed the die roller thing, but it was a 3. Okay, we're going to be playing with 3 dwarves. Now the question is, which 3 dwarves? So who's going to be first? Well, I've got them 1 through 4 over on the right, so I'll roll the d4 for the first one. Okay, that's going to be the driller. And why not? Let's also use this as the order they're going to be playing in. So the driller's going to be going first. Now I'll take the d6 divided by 2. Who's next? That's going to be the gunner. Ooh, and who's left of the last two? We'll do odds, then evens. Evens, so we've got the engineer. We are scoutless today. Okay, I'm going to set up all of these dwarves stuff, and we'll be right back. We're back, and all of them have their class-specific items and their tokens all set up. I've also selected secondary weapons and drawn their random rock and stone and throwables. Let's go over what everyone's got really quick. I'm also using all of their secondary weapons for the first time, so I guess I'm going to go over a few of these at once. So our digger, instead of using the flamethrower like last time, we've got the cryo cannon. We've gone from hot to cold. Attacks with 3 green dice, but it also applies the frozen effect. And the frozen effect doubles damage, and it basically acts as like a good stun, because instead of moving on their next turn, they just get rid of the frost effect instead. So it's better than a stun, because it's also got double damage. If you use your damaging attack, you can freeze 1 target, but if you use the secondary one called Flake Storm, it's a free action, and you can freeze 2 adjacent targets. It's still going to take up an ammo, you can just freeze things. So this is a very, very good support kind of a weapon. You can do damage with it, but it's also good for just putting a ton of damage on a specific creature. Also, for our digger, we've got our Rock and Stone card, our free bonus card. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Reroll any number of ranged attack dice, and this doesn't have to be on your attack, the secondary weapon that I've chosen for them. It's good to get a good range of dice, just in case something is resistant to your main weapon. So I've chosen the Experimental Plasma Charger, range 4, roll 1 red die, which is the explosive die. And on the back side of this, if you upgrade it, it gets a small area of effect attack as well. And their throwable munition is the Cluster Grenade. Roll 2 red dice and apply them to each space hit around the target. So you pick a space within range 4, and every space adjacent to it, but not the space itself, gets hit with those 2 red dice of damage. That is a very, very good grenade. Tons of damage, you may even scare things away, and lots of spaces hit. Great for clearing out a swarm. Now, for our gunner, instead of using their picturesque minigun, it's even what is on his miniature. So instead of the minigun, our gunner is going to be using the heavy autocannon called Thunderhead. It's 1 action, and you can fire either 1 red die or 2 red die for 2 actions. This really confused me the first time I saw it. I was like, why would you ever just do that? Why not just fire the single one twice? Because it saves you ammo. Because if you fire just the first attack twice, then that's going to take you 2 ammo, but if you spend 2 actions for continuous fire, it only costs you 1 ammo to do the 2 red dice, so it's conserving your firepower. So once I realized that, oh, that's much more effective. I like this weapon a lot. Both of the gunner's weapons are very, very good, maybe situational. His Rock and Stone card, we're rich. Add 1 gold to any empty wall space. Great for playing right before you're going to dig through a wall, say with the digger, because then you can just get a free gold. Now, for his secondary weapon, I've given him the Bulldog Heavy Revolver, range 5, 1 blue die. The blue die, I think, is the best die. In its upgraded state, it also freezes the target. And the throwable that he randomly was selected is the Frag Grenade, very similar to the Cluster Grenade. Roll 2 red dice and apply them to each space hit. So this is 3 spaces next to each other. They actually have very, very similar grenades. And finally, our engineer. Normally he's got that grenade launcher, which is a red die, but has the unique feature where it can shoot over, like, stalagmites. Hi, Aurora. Are you going to come visit again? She's getting ready. So he's using his alternate weapon called the Breach Cutter, which is perhaps a little bit more complicated, but still very, very good. You have 2 wildly different firing modes. At range 5, you roll 2 yellow dice and you can pick the better one. So you have a much better chance to get a higher result or not miss. And the weird thing about it is it also damages all between dwarf and target. Now, I believe that would also indicate, like, the dwarves too, but it's literally, and like in the video game, it shoots out this beam of energy that travels through all of those spaces. So notably, you do have to have, like, line of sight normally. The only things that don't block line of sight are, like, grunts, but that means this breach cutter is very good at getting rid of a lot of grunts, because you can target the one creature like in the back of the line of grunts, and you'll hit every grunt on the way to that primary target, up to 5, because you got the range 5. And I suppose, like, draw that straight line, every tile that you have crossed, I would think would hit. And the other firing mode is range 1, so you have to be right next to him, but it's the Plasma Blast, and you roll a yellow and a blue die. So that's a very strong attack. Aurora's standing just off to the side. There you go, kitty. She's going to make her move soon. Their Rock and Stone card. We are unbreakable. So play at any time, reroll a monster attack results. That's not just for monster attacks themselves. That can also be used. There are some events where you'd roll the monster die. Now, the secondary weapon we have given our engineer is the Auto Shotgun. Probably my favorite secondary weapon. It's a blue and a green, which is a ton of good damage. You know, I always like the blue die, but an extra green one thrown in, maybe you can get a grunt next to your primary target, something useful like that. Range 3, not the greatest range, but that's, you know, well within the mix. And the upgraded state of it, add an extra green die. So you can really get a lot of stuff with that. Or maybe even, like, overwhelm somebody's resistance. Yep, Aurora's now getting settled in. Let's see. Just tilt this up for just a second. Hello. Yeah. Yep. And I've got this nice sort of 3/4 view for our battlefield. Okay, and the last thing for our engineer, their throwable is the Soil Smasher. Remove all walls and stalagmites inside the blast radius. Minerals are left on the ground for easy pickup. I've given everybody their ammunition. The turret is ready but not deployed yet. So we've got our platforms, our zip lines, our shield, our freeze tokens are nearby. Our starting difficulty level, now that we're not on the tutorial, I'm going to start upping it. We're going to be on level 3 here. So we start 2 spaces in. The first swarm's only 2 swarm tracker boosts away. Okay, we actually are ready to begin. Didn't miss anything. So used to doing like the Frosthaven stuff with so many decks and whatnot. Nope, it's actually relatively straightforward. Looks like a lot of stuff, but not so tough to get into. So our digger is taking the very first turn. And since he's at the front of the drop pod already, he can end his move in, say, a stalagmite and just instantly mine it. And that's also going to reveal to me what this is. I think I'm going to try to get to those unexplored areas early. That's going to hopefully give me weapon upgrades early in the game, and we can spawn whatever creatures are going to come out of those caves and hopefully deal with them before we start dealing with swarms from exits 1 and 2. So very first move, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to destroy that stalagmite, and that allows us to roll the, where is it, the resource die. And we got nothing from that stalagmite. That was action number 1. And because we've moved next to this, we get to flip it over. It is a loot bug. So you need to use a pickaxe action to harvest the loot bug. Loot bugs give you 1 gold, and then you can roll the resource die to maybe get another bonus resource of some type. So now I've got a little bit of a conundrum. I can move 3 and end right in that wall. I can even use the rock and stone to just instantly pick up a gold from that. Reveal the room, and I've got 1 action left. Depending on what's on the other side of that door, well, not door, but what's in that cave, you know, maybe I'm going to get ambushed by a spitballer or something. There are some creatures that are immune to getting frozen. Actually, there's very few. There are several that can't be stunned. Yep, looked over it a bit more. Looks like there isn't anything that actually resists frozen. So frozen, nothing resists frozen. Frozen is very much superior to stun. We could move to there, or we could move to there. I guess we sort of want to go towards the near side. So what do I need? Where is the... this is the Gunner's card, the We're Rich card, and add 1 gold to any empty wall space. So yeah, let's bring... There we go. I can toggle that zoom view on and off, but yeah. So add 1 gold to any empty wall space. We're using that, so that is expended. dig 1 gold out of my supply here. Now I'll just put it directly in my path. That way, when our driller does his second move, and when you reach one of these wall bits, you have to stop in that space. And I need a single space there. Okay, and he just automatically picks up that gold. Let's see, nah, not too visible. I guess we can put our supply over here this time, because that's far enough away that it's clear we haven't dug over to that. And now we've reached our first unexplored area. It is time to flip this. I always try to keep it in whatever orientation it was. Oh, wow. That is a lot of pits. Ooh. Interesting. Okay, so the question mark goes right on top of the flare thing. We've got a stalagmite right there. 1 weapon upgrade, and we've got what looks like a web spitter over in the back there. So we've got a pesky sniper that's directly in our way. That's not great. Oh, he's not in range. We've got range 3 with the cryo cannon, but he is 4 away. So this is not a great place for our digger to be in. The digger is good at, like, they can get through walls relatively easily. Like, you know, a gap of 1 is perfect for the digger because they just walk into it and then they're ready for the next turn. But in this case, because there are so many pits, there's literally only 1 space that they can walk across. That is the worst nightmare for the digger because they have to make their way around to where that stalagmite is, destroy that, and then get in. But we also need to do the weapon upgrade. Where did I put that bag? I'll randomly select one and be right back. We've got our weapon upgrade set up on the top there. Yep, so no idea what is actually under that. And now our digger has 1 more action, but they are by far the worst equipped to deal with what's in the back of that cave. So I really want to get them out of the range of that web spitter and also not put them directly next to those pesky grunts. I mean, I've opened the cave now. I suppose I could start running them over towards the other cave, because I can do the same thing and deal with that stalagmite. Just move 2 into that one. And now we've opened the field of fire for all of our guns. And let's see, ore die. Let's see if we get anything from this one. Okay, this time we got a gold. 1 more gold out and put that into our supply. We can use those on weapon upgrades or potentially on a resupply. It takes 3 of the red nitra, but you can substitute gold to call down a resupply for more ammo and health. We are still completely full up, though. Okay, that was all 3 of the actions for our digger. So now we draw our first event card. What have we got? Yeah, I kind of like this. Oh no, a grabber attack. A grabber swoops in and tries to fly off with you. Dwarves within attack range of your space each receive a free reaction attack against it in the following turn order. Okay, only 1 hit is needed. If it survives, the grabber drops you on the empty ground space furthest away from you following a straight path. And then roll 2 attack dice and suffer damage as usual. Or get knocked over if you roll an exclamation point. Thank you. Oh, she's coming in for some cuddles. Gotta pause this real quick. Oh, you going back? What you doing? You're stepping on all the decks of cards is what you're doing. Come on, over here. Oh, coming straight onto my lap. There you go. Come on. There we go. Don't knock over the camera. Okay. Now are you going to be happy? Yeah. Okay, so we can interrupt to make attacks. Now we are 5 spaces away from both of our allies, and so our gunner has range of 6, the breach cutter has range of 5, but I don't think he quite has a straight line. Let's see if he... Let's see. No, you could make an argument that the gunner is next in turn order. I'm sorry, I don't mean to ignore you. So the gunner's going to get an attack. We will use a single red die. So we're using our first ammo out of the Thunderhead. And 1 red die. Okay, cute. But we got 2 damage. Okay, so we have destroyed the grabber and protect our driller friend. Always time for cuddles. Okay, so that was the entirety of the driller's turn. Yep, I'll just put the discard over there. There's not much space next to the big box of minis for you, kitty. Don't know where she's going next. Now it is time for the gunner's turn. Okay, our gunner. Let's see, none of the other enemies activated. I mean, our gunner is the one we would want to be shooting at all of these things. That said, because we've got this like nexus right in the middle here, that is just screaming for one of the engineer's single turret. Oh, she jumped around and came back from the other side. Hello. She's being very friendly today. Okay, so it's screaming out for a turret there. The turret is going to get free attacks at the... I keep wanting to call them monsters. I think it's because I played Gloomhaven, or Frosthaven recently. But the bugs, the monsters, whatever, just having a turret right in the middle there, it could decimate like the small grunts that are trying to chase us through. So I don't have to use the gunner on that. I could have the gunner sort of go around towards that side, but gunner makes good shoots and can just put a zipline across there. I think my best move is to try to get the gunner to take out that web spitter, although I may do it on the following round. So if I do my move like this, then I can still shoot at one of those grunts. I think it's still a good idea to keep them thin, thinned out. Let's see, I would be 2 actions to roll both red dice. If I move to there, then there is a line of sight between where the web spitter is. You don't want to stop directly in their line of sight, because that forces them to take a move action instead of getting to attack you the next time the bugs activate. Basically means you have to have 2 activations to get hit instead of just 1. So I don't want to just put him exactly 3 spaces away from where he is right now. But also he would have to be in that space in order to put his zipline down. Let's look at the web spitter's stats really quick. The web spitter doesn't have any resistances, but does have 2 health. So we could move there, we could shoot at the web spitter. So yeah, really only the 2 damage result would help us against that web spitter. That said, I almost never lose health in these things, so I'm just going to take the shot. This is still like mission 2. Maybe I can afford to be a little reckless. So we're going to move there. We are going to attack with 1 red die. Always make sure I remove the ammo. Do it first, that way I just don't forget. Okay, so red die. What do we got? We got 1 result. Now I could use that reroll for it, but nah. Okay, so we have 1 damage, which means there is 1 damage remaining. So using a single little green cube there to mark that he's taken a hit. And so we moved, attacked. Our gunner is done. It's time for his event. We've got a dugout surprise. Place a grunt on an empty ground space adjacent to you. So it's a grunt ambush. Dwarves within attack range of the grunt each receive a free reaction attack against it. If it survives, it attacks you. Well, if I put it on that side, our friends can't attack it, but if we put it behind us, then both of the other characters are going to be able to take a shot at it. Okay, so still no activations, but our people need to take a shot at it. So the engineer is now the next one in line. He's too far away for the shotgun, but he is range 5 and within line of sight, so we can use the focus beam. So we'll use one of his primary ammo on this. This time we're going to roll the 2 yellow dice and we can pick 1 result. We only need 1 hit, so we're pretty likely to get this. Okay, we got 1 hit, so we'll pick that die, and the grunt is dead. It didn't last very long. Good. That was the end of the gunner's turn. Now we're already on to our engineer. Let's just have them move out by 3. And now that we have all left the space, the dropship leaves, and that just becomes normal cave. Now, where is the best spot to put our turret? Because that's really what I want to deploy here. And I think right there is good, because as soon as something spawns from Tunnel Exit 2, the turret can just take a shot at it immediately. So, like, one of those 2 spaces I feel is the best bet here. Now, you know what? Let's deploy our turret right there. So that takes 1 of our actions, and it also takes an ammo. I learned last time in DRG mission number 1 months ago, I actually consulted the forum, and one of the developers got back to me that you can use either type of ammo. For some reason, I thought it was that you had to use the primary ammo, so I can use his secondary ammo on this instead. And so, one action and one of either type of ammo. I have deployed the sentry gun. The sentry gun is really just reaction attack, so I can't make it do an attack. It's just when a bug either spawns or moves into range of it and line of sight of it, it can make one attack with one green die. So not a strong attack, but it doesn't require any more ammo after that one you put down to deploy it, so it's extremely ammo efficient at thinning out these grunts. Now we have one more action with our engineer, because he moved, deployed the turret. Now is the question of, do we split up? Because we've already had, both of our events so far have been ambushes, which on one hand warns us that we could get ambushed, but on the other hand, those cards are now out of the deck, so there's fewer ambushes left in there. So yeah, like I could reach that, and if it's one of our fossils, that's one of those. Like maybe we can just have the engineer go down here, pick those up right away. I am just reminding myself, you absolutely want to stick together, because some of the ambushes can be worse than one of those. The grabber is terrible, if maybe one of the worst, if you don't have someone to protect you from it. So we're going to stay close to the other two. You know, I think this is a good opportunity to upgrade that secondary weapon of ours, because it's a really good one, and we've stocked up 2 gold so far, so we're going to spend a gold and an action, and that allows us to upgrade our Warthog into the better Warthog. So that unlocks the other 2 ammo. At the start of the game, you can only have 3 secondary ammo, but after you've upgraded the secondary weapon, you can unlock the other 2 slots, and now that's going to be shooting 3 dice. So now we've moved, we deployed, and we upgraded, so that's all 3 of those actions. Time to see what his event is going to be. And what do you know, it's another surprise. Aerial surprise! Something awful swoops out of the darkness and slashes at you, before disappearing back into the gloom. No reaction attacks this time. Lose 1 health, or throw yourself to the ground to avoid getting hit. Ignore this card if you are already prone. Becoming prone sucks because you have to basically spend your first 2 actions to get back up. I'm just going to take 1 health damage. I'm not low on anything yet. I don't feel in any particular danger. So we'll do that. The bugs still have not moved or had any swarm threats, so we're getting lucky so far. Engineer is done. We're back up to the top with our digger. Now our digger can break through into the other unexplored room, and if we're going to get ambushed, we can find out now. Let's see, we could try to dig in from behind that Morkite. I might as well reveal it and then have more choices about what's going to happen next. So 1, 2, 3. We are going to reveal this unexplored cave segment. So we'll just get everything out of the way real quick. Or out of the way. Revealed, so all of the hidden information will now be known. What's over here? Oh, this is another one that's got a bunch of, let's see, hit spaces in it. Now that is a spitball infector, one of the things I was worrying about earlier. So these can't be stunned, although we can apparently still freeze them. There we go. Got our spitball infector out. 1 stalagmite hidden behind it. This time we've got a Mactera, one of our flying friends. And there are 2 weapon upgrades in this room. But once again, the spot that has the collectible resources on the other side of a pit. So this is another one that's not a great fit for our digger. Let me randomly get the 2 weapon upgrades out. The tricky part with using the bag is if I pull the weapon upgrade out and it's the side where that is not the hidden side, that spoils what it is. So I put it back in. I just keep drawing until I make sure I get a face down one, just so that I'm not spawned. That one would have been good. That was an extra die. I'll be right back again. Okay, so here we are. So if we look up at that top corner, we've got that Mactera. Now the weapon upgrade that's there, I could move into the weapon upgrade space, pick it up, and then end that action in the space with the Morkite, and then we would have 1 more turn, or 1 more action, and we could use we can freeze 2 adjacent targets, but there's a pit between them. I could freeze the spitball infector, and we would only get hit by the Mactera. Still not a great outcome there. So the Mactera, it resists fire and melee damage, not our regular bullets at all. It does have 2 health though, and it's a ranged attacker. There aren't many ranged attack bugs. The Spitball Infector has 5 health, 7 range, but it doesn't move. It resists explosive, regular bullets, some melee, and stun. Now the special thing about, or one of the special things about the Driller, is he ignores all melee resistance that targets have because his melee attack is not a pickaxe, it is his drill hands. Tough choice here. We've got the 2 actions left. How are we going to try to deal with this? If I use the primary attack, which is going to roll the 3 green die, I can attack each of those enemies once and freeze them both. So maybe I'll kill the Mactera, but I can definitely freeze our friend the Spitball Infector. At least it looks like I can. Then they're both not going to attack me this turn. And as far as I can tell, there's nothing that says that you can't freeze a Spitball Infector. But I also found in there that the flying creatures like the Mactera there actually would die immediately when I freeze it. So that means that our cryo cannon from the digger is just going to instantly kill him. Really don't even need to roll the dice, but I'm gonna. So here's the attack on our Mactera spawn. Yep, only 1 hit, so I would only have damaged him, but the moment he freezes, he falls to the ground and shatters, and he's gone. We're gonna make our 3rd action is gonna be an attack on the Spitball Infector. It does have some bullet resistance, but that's not my primary goal at the moment. Okay, we got 2 hits. I believe it has 1 resistance. Double check. Yep, it has 1 resistance, so I do 1 damage to it. And I'll just mark 1 next to it. But it is frozen, and that's the more important thing at the moment. So that frozen status is going to stay on it until it would take its next activation. And instead of activating, it just removes the frozen status. And until that time, it's going to take double damage. Now, another thing I had to look up is you include resistances before the doubling. So if I was to attack it now with the bullets, then its resistance, like say I did the 2 damage, its resistance would reduce that down to 1, and then the 1 would get doubled to 2. And that was all of our attacks, or all of our actions. So our event this time is, ouch! Movement on the cave ceiling releases some minerals. A piece of nitra drops on your head. Good thing you have a thick skull. Collect 1 nitra, no downside. Now we're to the gunner's turn. So our gunner is focusing over on that web spitter. I really want that web spitter gone, and so I am entirely willing to spend the 2 actions to do a 2 red die attack on it. It's going to cost me 1 ammo. Our gunner is spending a bunch of ammo here. Do I want to just use the heavy revolver? Yeah, you know what? I'm going to hit him with the revolver instead. That's a range 5 single blue die, but the blue die is very unlikely to miss, and I do have a reroll up my sleeve. And that way I don't have to spend 2 actions on it. I think we can rely on this to do the job for us, because it's only got 1 health left. Okay, 1 attack result. So we got him. The web spitter is no more. Okay, so that was action number 1 for the gunner. Second action, we're going to put down a zip line to get across this pit. I suppose our engineer could handle this kind of thing for us. But now we want to walk across. So the first action, it's only 1 movement point to cross over where this is. As soon as we're next to it, we can reveal it, and that is one of our alien fossils. No pickaxe icon, that means we just pick it up immediately, and it's into our supply. And our second movement point, we can move all the way directly on top of that weapon upgrade. We immediately pick it up, and it is a, let's see, it's a plus green die, and it also has a stun icon on it. Gonna double check exactly what that one does, but I believe that means not only do we roll a bonus die, but we also get to stun anything we hit with that weapon when we attack. After rolling for normal damage, roll a bonus bullet die. If it hits, apply the stunned effect to the target that was assigned the bullet hit. Okay, so whoever gets hit by the green bullet gets stunned, in case you're dividing your hits across multiple enemies. So now what am I going to put this on? So this is going right onto that autocannon. Now we've got an extra die and a stun effect. Ooh. Our gunner is in great shape. There isn't a good angle to put a zipline across. I think we're going to have to dig our way past that stalagmite and start doing some digging back there. But hopefully we can just get in there and then get back out. All those pits are just a huge problem because you can't dig into the wall from this side. I was hoping to just get back there and then sort of rotate around and just dig through the walls to get to this last one, and then that would be our exit. But because those pits are in the way, you can't dig the wall from that side. Like I can't put a zip line into straight into a wall. Like in the video game, you could continue to just hang from the zip line, but in the board game, you have to actually traverse the zip line and stand in a space on the other side. We do have one more movement point. I might as well move one back, but I think our third one is going to be a pickaxe into the stalagmite there. Got to open up our way further through. Do we want to... No, we've got red attack dice. I mean, the blue one would be good. I'm thinking about... I mean, we need to go reinforce over at the spitball infector, but maybe our cryo friend can handle that. Or we can send the engineer up to reinforce them. I just don't want to go this far deep into that side channel and then run back. So I'm going to have the gunner finish that out, and then... I mean, if we keep stunning the spitball infector, maybe we can get in and get out and just never bother to kill it. Maybe, but I'm going to mine that thing. Okay, we got a double pickaxe, but there's only one thing next to us that we can even hit, so the extra one does nothing. And we get to roll the resource dice, see if we get a bonus. We get one more gold. Excellent. So we got 1 nitra, 2 gold, and yeah, we just pickaxed it. We did not. We don't get to move into the space. His turn is done. Now for our next event, we've got the mission-specific event. So for this one, place a grunt at a tunnel exit of your choice, then activate all creatures. So we're getting an activation this time. Now the grunt, if I place it over on tunnel 1, it's not going to get to us for a while, and then the turret will hit it. If I put it over at tunnel 2, it may get hit right away, but let's just force him to walk and then get shot. Okay, now all creatures activate, including the one we just put in. So, as a reminder, everything activates in a specific order, starting with the grunts, and you go down the list, then to the other side down the list. So the spitball infector is going to go last. And I always like to do things from the closest to us, farthest away. So the grunt is going to walk up. Normally, they don't get to attack on the same turn they move. There's some specific cards that say they move, then they attack. But in this case, they just move. These guys' movement is 3. They can crawl around the walls of pits. Bugs can just crawl the walls. But they're not crawling across. They're going around the outside. Like, they can't walk directly over the middle of the big pit. So they moved 3, they moved 3. This guy has to go around to the side. Ah, I forgot. As soon as the front guy moved within range, so I suppose technically he was in that spot, we get a shot at him with the green die from the turret. And we got him. That bug never even got close enough. Now this guy just barely moved into range. Turret has range 3. Let's take a free attack against them. Hey, another hit. Let's see. Yep, the green die has 4 hits and 2 misses on it. So, quite good at taking out those grunts. The spawning ones never got to do anything. The spitball infector just gets to recover from frozen, and that's it. That's it for that event phase. So now it is up to our engineer. Now the engineer, we want to have go reinforce our driller in the back room there. Oh, there's another weapon upgrade on the offer here. Because I can't shoot past the driller, they're going to block line of sight. So if I just do a single move of 3, I can't get in there. And I'm pretty much going to have to move all the way into the room to be able to... like after that, I can just put down platforms and fill the entire room, basically. Or I could take a shot at the spitballer, but again, because of those dang pits that are in the way, I can't use the really strong range 1 attack. We're going to move 1, we move 2, So we're going to end in that space, but we pick up the weapon upgrade as we walk over it. And this one has the two types of ammo depicted on it. So whichever weapon you apply this to can use either ammo when you declare an attack. So if I put that on the breach cutter, I could use secondary ammo, and if I put it into the shotgun, then the shotgun could also use primary ammo. Honestly, I think the upgraded shotgun is the better weapon. So I'm going to do that, and now we have basically 6 shotgun ammo on us. So we've done a double move. Now we could attack the Spitballer right now, just start getting that attack in, or we can use our platform gun, and I believe that allows us to place up to 3 platforms on pits in our line of sight. Platform gun, yep, up to 3 platforms on deep pits in your line of sight. So if we do that, that's going to allow us to just walk across to that last question mark spot, so we can collect that more easily. So we'll put one there, we'll put one here so we can collect that other weapon upgrade, and one other spot within line of sight. If I would run out of them, I can always just pick up the last one, or pick up one from the board to put down more later. So there's no reason not to place all 3 down if I can. So third action, we put those down. Now the Spitball Infector, if it gets an activation right now before we get to refreeze it, it could make an attack on us, and that part would suck. Actually, the closest one's the engineer, so it would be targeting our engineer. Well, made my bed, already put the things down. Let's go. So his event is, don't get too close. Place an exploder at exit 2 and all other creatures activate. So the exploder is going to come out. Now it shows up right there, but it is within range of our turret, so the turret gets its free shot on it, and the exploder, I believe, has, yep, only 1 health, and when it dies, it attacks everyone adjacent to it. Let's see if we got it. Hey, another free kill from the turret. And poof! Exploder immediately goes boom, and now all other creatures activate, so starting with the grunt over here, it's going to move towards the closest dwarf. It will target the turret if there is no closer dwarf. If there's a tie, it prefers the dwarf. So we're going to get a free attack on that now. And we got another hit. 4 in a row. See, the turret is very, very good at clearing out grunts. That's why I put it there. Okay, but the Spitball Infector is going to get to do its attack. So it rolls 1 die, 1 monster die, and if it rolls the special result, it knocks the target down. So at least it doesn't do mega damage, but it's very tough. You know, it's a large standing turret. So we pull 1 black die, and what do we got? Okay, that's a damage. So he does 1 damage to our engineer, who is the closest dwarf. So now he's taken a couple of damage. Still not too worried yet, but yeah. So that's all the bugs. We're back up to the driller, start of our 3rd round through the order. Now we could get all the way up next to it, and we could start hitting it with melee if we wanted. Or like we could use that to just walk up to where that question mark bit is. But we want to freeze them first and then maybe take some shots at them. Cryo cannon. We're taking 1 more. Oh. You know, this shows me I forgot to take the 2 bullets off from when we attacked last round, because we hit the Mactera and then the Spitballer. So now we're caught up. Our 3rd ammo is going into an attack on the Spitball Infector, which has 1 green resistance. Oh, but we got all 3 hits, so we deal 2 more damage to it. We're just overwhelming its resistance with lots of green damage here. And then we freeze it. So it is frozen again. It does resist the red damage, or I would be very tempted to shoot him with the secondary and try to finish him off. I mean, I can wait for the engineer to come in and just warthog him. At the very least, I've got 1 more turn where he's not going to get to activate. So now let's focus in on getting those objectives. So we're going to move 3. We're going to end in that space with the question mark, and it was our next fossil. So we've collected 2 fossils. Now our driller has stopped there. There is a stalagmite behind him, but I'm less interested in moving there than I am in moving to the space with that Morkite. And we've collected our first objective resource. So our driller ends his movement by drilling into that wall, and now we've got our first Morkite. Haha, of 6, but we're halfway there on the fossils. But we know 2 of the fossils are over there, so at least one's going to be in this last room. We're still going to have to search for it. So it was an attack and then 2 moves. Last one ending in the wall. Time for our event. Okay, they are closing in. Increase the swarm threat by 1. This is our first swarm threat increase. We've been getting lucky on those. Not at a swarm yet, though. If this did not trigger a swarm, activate all creatures. The only creature that is on the board is our Spitball Infector, so it shakes off the frozen again. But it didn't get to attack this time. Driller done. Time for our gunner. Our gunner, who is stuck on the far side doing drilling, and after, yeah, they're kind of on their own. If they get ambushed, that's going to suck at this moment, but hopefully, there we go. Okay, so he's going to do a move action. Now we're going to do a drill. We're targeting the Morkite, but if we get the double result, then we can also dig out the gold as well. We got a single pickaxe. So we have revealed that space, dug out the Morkite. So we moved, we mined. Our last action is going to be moving into the space between the other 2 resources, and next turn we'll just mine until we've got all of that stuff and start making our way back out. So our event. Okay, mission-specific event. So we spawn a grunt at an exit of our choice, and then all creatures activate, and that means our Spitball Infector is just getting all the activations now. Maybe we were under-activating them earlier. So I'm going to put the grunt at the far end again, make him work for it. And it's just going to walk up to the side of that big pit. And now the Spitball Infector, we know it rolls 1 monster attack die, and the special result's going to be a knockdown. Now they are both the same distance away, so the monsters attack the one who is the farthest away from attacking, so I guess the one who most recently attacked, or acted. So this is their turn, so I guess that's focusing on the driller this time. And we got a blank. Hey, nothing there. So it missed. Our driller managed to dodge. 1 in 3 chance on the die for that. Okay, so nothing there. Brent already moved. That one's done. So now it is our engineer's turn. Okay, that Spitball Infector is looking rough. It has 3 damage on a total of 5 health, so 2 health left. And what do you know? We've got, yeah, it's not frozen anymore, but we've got that shotgun. Although I want that weapon upgrade. Maybe I can, like, really trick out that shotgun and then take a shot. So I'm going to move 2 to pick up the upgrade. This time we've got, let's see, looks like a shield being bypassed, and I believe that means this gun ignores resistances. Ignore any resistance the targeted creatures may have against this weapon type. All damage applies. So it is not going to have any resistance to the shotgun, because we are, where did I set that? There. So now our shotgun has 2 weapon upgrades on it. We can use either ammunition type, and it's going to ignore all of those nice bullet resistances that Infector has. Excellent. And that doesn't stop our movement. We can still use our 3rd point of movement to start going back out of the cave now that we've got most everything we wanted out of here. So action number 1. Action number 2, we're taking a shot. Might as well use the secondary ammo up first. Take a shot. So it is 1 blue and 2 green, and there's no resistance on this one. What do we got? Ooh, we only got 1 green, so is this this seems like a good time to use the reroll, because this is one, you know, we should have killed that Spitballer with this attack, and I want to, you know, keep on the move here. So we are going to use our card for reroll any number of ranged attack dice. Any number, so we get to keep the 1 hit. So we just need any of the other 2 dice to get a hit this time. Oh, and now they're all hits. So 3 damage. Even if it still had the resistance, we got the Spitballer. Is eliminated. Remove all of its damage markers from the board. And we'll put that in our discard over there. All right. So action number 2, we got our kill. Action number 3, we're going to start making our way out of that corner of the cave. And his turn is done. Event. Unsettling rumblings. Increase the swarm threat by 1, and if it didn't trigger a swarm, you draw another card, but we got a swarm. So swarm cards pretty much always activate all creatures. Right now there's just one grunt on the board. Okay, what do we got? It's a boom bug. Place 1 exploder at exit 1 and 3 grunts at exit 2. So that exploder is coming right back out. He comes in at exit 1 and 3 grunts. We start pulling more out of the box at exit 2. Now, notably, I suppose this is a good question, because do they appear all at once, or do I get a shot as each one would spawn in? And then all creatures activate. We do get a shot at each of the spawns, but it's only an issue like, well, if I, say, miss the 2 that are in the front, then I wouldn't get an attack on the one in the back. So I'm just going to do this one at a time, because as soon as the one has spawned in, like the next one tries to spawn in, and it has to go to one of the adjacent spaces. So I am going to take the shots one at a time. First one spawns. We got a hit. It does not spawn. Second one spawns in. We get a hit. It is immediately taken out. And the third one spawns in. If they're all hits, that whole point was moved. No, it has to go in the die roller. I didn't even see what it was. And it's a hit. We are like 7 for 7 on the green die so far. Definitely getting lucky there. All of that swarm was basically taken out by that turret. That turret is MVP right now. Most kills by far. Okay, now all creatures activate. The only creatures are the ones that were out of range of the turret. And dun, dun, dun. It's got one more movement, but now it's the turret's turn. I'll keep using that one die. Oh, we finally got a miss. So the turret did not hit it. Although it didn't get close enough to be in melee, so it has one more round where the swarmer has to get past it, has to do a move instead of making an attack. So we still have one more shot before they would take each other out. And the exploder moves. He also has a movement of 3. Most of the standard bugs have a movement of 3. But yeah, everything on the front page has a movement of 3. Yeah, everything that moves has a movement of 3. And that's it for that swarm event. So that was the engineer's turn, and we're back up at the top with the driller. Now, it basically be one action to just move into the wall with the nitra, grab it. We're going to need supplies at some point. I think it's worth an action just to shore up, because we're right there and it's not far out of our way. So action number 1, we grabbed that. Action number 2, we've got a movement of 3. I do think the stalagmite is a bit far out of the way, though, so I'm not going to go grab that too. I think I do want to keep moving. I don't want to move next to it. The turret will hopefully protect us, and we'll stop on the loot bug. Maybe we can do a mining thing on the next turn. All moves, and they're done. Time for our event. Mission-specific event again. And so we spawn a grunt at a tunnel exit of our choice. Going to be tunnel 1 until we start going down that way. And now all the creatures activate. So the grunts go first. The one who's next to us activates. So now it's time for our turret. Oh, got a hit on that one though, so it doesn't get to move closer. The one in the back, they would either get stuck behind them, but they can crawl along the other side, so that works. Now the exploder moves up, and as soon as they get into range, the attack with our turret again. We got a hit. Exploder didn't get to do much again. Boom! It doesn't take out the wall. It doesn't carve out enough of the rock for that. And that's it for the activation. Okay, that was the driller. So the gunner is back up. We are set up to do some mining. Double. No, we got a single, so we have dug out where the morkite is. And now it's the question of, we've got a very strong chance of getting that gold out of there. But that's basically so that we can pump up our supplies of, well, our literal supplies, so we can have more stuff ready to to call in more supply pods in case things get harrowing later. So I'm going to just try to pull out the last one, and if I don't make it, I'll move down there anyway. That way I can be covered by the driller in case I get ambushed. Ah, we got the miss. Okay, well, I'm going to leave that gold behind then. 1, 2, 3. And that way, if this happens to be an ambush, that will have been a very good idea. Unsettling rumblings. Oh, another one. If this didn't trigger a swarm, draw another event card. So swarm threat went by up. No swarm this time, and that means we keep going. Fast critters. Increase the swarm threat by 1. If this didn't trigger a swarm, all creatures move and attack. Frozen and stunned creatures do nothing. Remove their condition instead. Okay, so no swarm triggered. All creatures move and attack this time. Thankfully, this grunt is still too far away for that to be able to get its bonus attack. And time for our turret to strike. Oh, we got a miss this time. Okay, that's grunt gets to live another day. So that was our gunner. That means it is our engineer's turn, and that bat cave is pretty much clear. Yeah, there is no distance requirement on placing your platforms. So if I moved somewhere like this, as long as I could draw a line of sight, I could basically paper over both of those pits. You can see over grunts, but you can't see the other ones. I need to move forward either way, but from there, I suppose on the overhead view, as long as I'm drawing from, say, this back corner, I can see this corner from there. Because realistically, I can see basically this half of the pit, so I think I can put my platforms down. So, platform action. Place 1 there, and I can see straight over the swarmers, so I'm just going to put it there or there. I put it there, we'll probably be sweeping around. Okay, that was action number 2. Action number 3, I could just move right past that grunt and just like run down here. I mean, the shotgun would be pretty much overkill against it. Focused beam, I'm just gonna reserve my ammunition. I'm gonna hope that the turret handles that grunt. So, movement action, we just move, we walk right on by. And his event. Our engineer's event is mission specific event. There's a bunch of that card in there. So, we spawn a grunt, and then all creatures activate. So that guy's going to go first. As soon as he activates, the turret gets its shot at him, and it got the hit this time. So it's still at least getting all the grunts. And now this one gets to move. Oh, now it can walk right over the middle of that pit. I mean, it's not any closer, but because we put the platforms in, bugs can use them too. So that's it for the activation. We're keeping this chamber relatively bug-free. And it's the driller's turn. So our driller, now that we've cleared some space for them, he can just walk straight. Oh, right, I forgot he was standing on that loot bug. Well, maybe we'll have the gunner attack the loot bug, and the gunner can just sort of sit in the middle and, you know, take some supplies, because we know that that's going to be coming back right in that spot. We can just basically make a base, and between the turret and our gunner, he can just protect the middle of that cave. So that means we can move our driller in. So 1, 2, 3. Now he's only got 3 more movement here. So I can't get him into one of the Morkite spots, but I can move him to here so we can get another Nitra and carve out that wall. Get all the single spaces over there. And he can move one more time and pick up that Morkite, and we can reveal what this is. So move to there. It is, it's red sugar. So if you use your pickaxe to mine out the red sugar, then that's going to drop 3 health cubes on the board, and our engineer could actually make some use of that. So maybe he'll divert over there, but we're not going to spend our driller's turn on that. Instead, he's going to do his full move into the space with that Morkite, and he'll pick it up. So now we've got 4 of the Morkite, half of the fossils, so 2 of those 3 are fossils. He's done his full turn. Event. I said stop spitting. Activate all creatures. If there are no creatures, place a web spitter. Well, we've got that one grunt who protected us from a web spitter just by existing, and he gets into range. Let's see what our turret has to say about that. It's toast. Okay, and now we've got no creatures, but that's it. Now I wonder if there's an ordering issue here, because we activated all the creatures. We've completed that after they activated. Now there are no creatures in place. So when we get to the second line here, there are no creatures in play. So I guess we do still place that web spitter, huh? Feels a bit weird, but You know, if we go, like, execute one line at a time, we've got a web spinner at exit 2, because we managed to kill it during the actual activation because of the interrupts. So yeah, I guess we do get that web spinner, but what do you know? He's in range of our turret. Haha. And that turret took off one of his 2 hit points. This turret is being very effective. It's missed twice, but it's shot at least a dozen times at this point. And yeah, putting in some heavy work. The turret is great against low-level creatures. I imagine that the engineer will lose a lot of his efficacy with this turret once we get into the later missions, and we're going to have, I just assume, more higher-level things like on the map at the start of the game, I'm guessing. So, yep, that was the end of all the bug stuff. The driller was the last one who just went. So, our gunner gets to do their turn, and what do you know? There's a bug here now. So, he's gonna, it's just 1 movement point to get across to there, 2 and 3, and we're just gonna end up standing on top of that loot bug for the moment. So that's 1 action, and he's got 2 left. He does have a good amount of ammunition left, but I think if I use the red die, like there's only one side of that face that doesn't do damage, and it's the scare result. And I wonder if when you force the creatures to move because they're scared, if the turret gets a free attack. Gotta check the rules on that real quick. Okay, I've got the 2 relevant parts bookmarked on here. So, the scare result. Move any affected creatures up to 2 spaces away from the source of the effect. So, wherever you were hitting with the explosive die. And, yeah, so move any affected creatures up to 2 spaces away. Now the sentry gun. When a creature is either activated, placed, or moved into a space within 3 spaces of the turret, roll 1 bullet die and check for resistance. So I believe that if we got the scare result, that would give the turret another shot at it. So let's just take 1 ammo. We'll just give it a single tungsten shot, so only 1 red die here. If we get the one side that doesn't do damage, the turret's going to come in and take a shot for us. But we don't need it, we got the damage. Okay, the web spitter is gone. Back to the box once more. Okay, so that was actually our attack with that. So now he's got 1 action left. Let's try to pop this loot bug. So, using the melee mining die. Oop, I missed. Yep, my rule is whenever I'm using the roller, I've got to get it into the roller. Oh, now I got a double result. So I can collect the loot bug, and I can also mine 1 wall out that's right next to me. So let's give ourselves a slightly better field of fire. Now we can shoot into that next room. So for popping the loot bug, we get 1 gold right away, and we also get to roll the resource die. Maybe we'll get a second something. Oh, we got the nitro results. We get 1 red and 1 yellow. We are positively loaded with resources right now. And that was his last action, so it's time to draw the gunner's event. Glowing walls. Place 1 gold in the wall closest to you. If several walls are at equal distance, choose which one, but also increase the swarm threat by 1. So 1 gold goes into the closest wall. Well, that's right next to you. That's funny. Gold is literally coming to him at this moment. Engineer's turn. Engineer is in the middle there. I wanted the engineer to go and collect that red sugar. So 1, 2, 3. He has to use the pickaxe die to actually collect it. This is going to get him some health back. Yep, he got 1 pickaxe result. So what that means is you heal up to 3. So 2 of these are going to go back onto his. And any extra ones are just dropped and sit in the space. So anyone who walks over onto that space with the single red cube there later on, that's why it's underneath his gun. So anyone who walks across that cube later will just instantly heal. Okay, so he moved, he mined, now he's got 1 more action, and I'm pretty sure that the driller is going to make their way basically towards the next room. He's already upgraded his weapon, so that won't be useful. We'll move him down to there. And ends his turn. His event is going to be... a slasher emerges. Place a slasher on an empty ground space adjacent to you, if possible. Dwarves within attack range of the slasher each receive a free reaction attack against it. If it survives, it attacks you. Okay, so what's the best spot to put it in? Well, our friend the driller isn't going to be able to help us either way. And notably, the turret does not get an attack here. It's specifically dwarves get reaction attacks. It's also specifically only ranged attacks. You can't do a reaction attack with a pickaxe if someone happens to be right next to it. So this slasher has come out. Now our gunner is going to be able to take a shot. Ooh, the slasher has 2 hit points though. And it's got some resistances. One to the green bullet and one to flame. These guys can do a decent amount of damage. So he wants to attack that. So what am I going to attack with our gunner? Now you can't use continuous fire because it takes 2 actions and you're given 1 reaction attack. So I can only use the red explosive die or the blue die. So he's not going to resist either way. Now this is a tough one to say. I'm not terribly likely to kill it with this thing either way. But if I go with the red die, then I've got a chance to scare it away, even if I'm don't kill it, so I can move it away from us. We'd get the free shot with the turret, and because it's not next to us, it couldn't use its surprise attack anymore. So red die, we are going to use 1 more of our autocannon ammo. We're now getting low on that. Oh, I almost forgot. Ha ha ha. We gave it an upgrade, so it's actually a red and a green die. The target of the green die gets stunned. I don't think you actually have to hit with it. No, apply the stunned effect to the target that was assigned the bullet hit. I mean, yeah, so it says you have to assign a hit. I know you can assign, hit, miss, hit if you've got, a bunch of dice that you're rolling, but I think that implies that you have to hit with the green portion of this attack to get the stun. But hey, that boosted our attack a whole bunch. Almost forgot about that upgrade. Here we go. Ooh, well, we didn't get a hit with the green die, but we got the scare result, so we can move up to 2 spaces, that slasher away from us, and because he moved within the range of the turret, well, the turret's going to get an attack, but the slasher has a bullet resistance, so we're not going to hit it regardless. And I can roll, and oh, it resisted. All 0 damage, so it's not next to us, so it can't do an attack. It only has range 1, so even though the card said if it survives, it attacks you, it's not next to us anymore. It wasn't so bad, but now we got a bug to deal with. And that was the engineer's turn. Now we are up to the driller. We're also 1 away from the next swarm. So the driller is going to go after the remaining Morkite. We're going to move 3 spaces, so 1, 2, 3. We've got 5 Morkite. Our next move, we can go... let's dig through as close to the other people as we can. So we only moved 2, but we've dug out that space, and then I'm just doing the straight move instead of trying to do the mine, because with the mining, there's one side on that white die that's a miss. You can miss the wall, maybe you hit a hard spot in the rock or something, but we're just going to use the driller's unique ability to end their movement in a wall, instantly dig it out, you move into that space, and so we've collected all 6 of the Morkite, but we still have to collect the other 2 fossils. That's going to end our driller's turn. We did not get to deal with that slasher, but the driller wasn't in a position to do anything about that. Our event, they go boom! Activate all creatures. If no creatures are in play, place an exploder at exit 1 instead. Well, there is 1 creature in play, so the closest dwarf to our slasher is the gunner now. They both have big appendages. The gun and the claws are kind of into each other. So he moves up. He doesn't get an attack right now, but on his next activation, he's going to get to. But that ends the event phase, so we're back to the gunner. Can attack to their heart's content. I skipped the turret because it resists the green, so there's no point in that. I'm pretty sure I want to do the continuous fire attack. He's going to use the last of his regular primary ammo, but I'm either going to hit this thing or scare it away. If it doesn't die, that's going to ensure that it gets scared away. So I'm going to get both red dice and 1 green die, thanks to that upgrade. So if he's not killed, he'll at least have to move away again. And go! Okay, we got 3 hits. It does resist the green one, but the green would have given us, the green hit would have given us a stun if we hadn't managed to kill it. But we got him. That was our first thing. Now that he's out of his primary ammo, I think it is finally time for us to call in a supply pod. So we spend 3 nitro. We've got plenty on hand right now, and that allows us to draw the top card from the supply drop deck. And so this drop is going to have 8 primary ammo, 1 secondary, and 3 health in it. And it has to be in a space that's within line of sight, but you can only interact with it if it's next to you. So I'm going to just sort of place it in the little nook right behind him. That way the engineer can interact with it if he wants as well. And so all the stuff that's in it, I'm just going to pile in the front right here. So we've got about 8. 8 is a lot of... yeah, they all have different amounts in them of those 3 different resources. They all have at least 1 of each, but this one has clearly a heavy bias towards the primary ammo, which is good because our supply, or our gunner, was out of it. So action number 2, call down the supply pod. Action number 3 is going to be interact with the supply pod, and that allows us to pick up as much ammo as we can carry. Haha. So he's going to be all the way back up to 5 primary ammo. I suppose I could save... Nah, we're not going to have our engineer even interact with this thing. Let's just beef up Mr. Gunner. And now he's got extra primary ammo right next to him, so we can take as many shots as we want from... Now we got 2 turrets there. Okay, that was his 3rd action, so his turn is done, and we draw his event. Bugs, bugs, bugs. Increase the swarm threat by 2, but no further than the next swarm space. So this, I guess we're lucky this time that the next one is a swarm space. We hit our next swarm, but at least we didn't get 2 spaces down the track. Okay, Praetorian. This is going to be our first Praetorian. Place a Praetorian at exit 1, facing the nearest target, then activate all creatures. Well, I guess I can put my roller over here now that we've passed that part of the track. So a Praetorian, ooh, this is one of the big boys in the box. There we go. So yeah, big boy. So he still only takes up 1 space, but barely. And so he spawns in at exit number 1, facing the nearest target. Well, our driller is going to be the nearest target. He can even see him. Just barely past that stalagmite. Okay, so special things about the Praetorians, because they have some unique features. Let's grab the monster board again, and go into the zoom view. So, our Praetorian friend, there's a bigger one called the Oppressor. We're looking at the Praetorian. This guy has 6 health. He's tougher than that big plant tower thing. Range of 2, they actually have spit attacks in the game, and a movement of 3, but even though they only roll 1 die, their special is basically a critical hit and does 2 damage instead. They've got a lot of fire resistance. They also resist bullets and some melee, but one thing that's unique about them... Oh, rotate that around. So, resistance, they've got really big, soft, weak spots on their backsides. So if you are attacking them from the rear arc, so basically anything that's like not to the sides, but anything that's definitely behind them, then you can ignore all those resistances. So they're really tough from the front. They're like armored tanks, but only from the front. Oh, I forgot. Whoever killed the Spitball Infector should have drawn an extra rock and stone card. I'll correct that in a second. The Praetorian is also one of the big, beefy 3 that gives you extra rock and stone cards. And yeah, the Oppressor has a ton of text, but why don't we read the Praetorian? The imposing Praetorian is well protected, but its abdomen sticks out at the rear with no plating to protect it. Attacking it from behind, refer to the green spaces in the diagram, allows you to ignore its resistance. When the Praetorian moves, it always faces the direction it moves in, which is also toward the nearest dwarf. Now, I have no idea when we're going to encounter an Oppressor for the first time, but the Oppressors are even bigger than the Praetorians, and they can actually dig through walls and crush stalagmites because they're so big. So this is our first tank, basically. The first mission actually tells you in the setup instructions to remove the Praetorian cards from the swarm decks. They don't want you to have to deal with this in Mission 1. Mission 2 is fine, though. So he activates. Now, when creatures move, if they do have a range stat, then they move and they stop once they have gotten into range. So he doesn't move the full 3 to get into melee like all the other creatures do. He's so big you can't even see that. No, there really is a space between them. He's just lording over the whole thing. So yeah, I mean, both of the two spaces he could be facing are, well, his base is so big, he doesn't even slip onto that little resource that's underneath him, which we need to collect, so this guy is in the way. So everyone did activate. He's the only one on the map right now, but now we've got something to deal with. Okay, that was the gunner, though. The engineer is up next, and that means our digger is in danger. Let's see, we do still have a reroll for a monster attack. We've got all of our throwables left. We've got all those grenades. Maybe this is a good time to start using them. Praetorian he has resistance against fire, but not explosives, and we've got a bunch of explosives. I mean, we do need to collect those things. We're not going to be able to move the digger. We don't have that rock and stone card. Yeah, who got the kill shot against the... I mean, it doesn't matter, really, because the rock and stone cards are... You can use them on anybody's turn. So, like, who has the card only really matters if there's multiple players, because then that player can decide when they're playing the card. So it actually doesn't matter, in my case, because I'm playing cooperative solo, who actually got the card. So this card is Rock On! Choose another dwarf to carry out a ranged attack action. Yeah, so somebody should have this card. So I know it's not the gunner, so I'll give it to him, because it doesn't matter. So we're going to take a move. That's going to reveal what this is. Okay, that is the rose. So if you walk over that one, it doesn't have a pickaxe, so all you have to do is walk over it. You get to collect a rock and stone card. The spaces that we don't have to worry about resistance, granted the Warthog shotgun, we can ignore it anyway, but it starts... Yeah, the spaces to its immediate sides are not behind it. Well, yeah, I guess it is pretty clear. The spaces to its side, it has armor, but anything that is in the rear arc is something you can hit. So if I got to here, I would be in its rear arc, and I could shoot it. And I would also reveal what this thing is, so we would know where the fossil is. And I can even get another free attack from that other card. Things are coming together. So 1, 2, 3. This rose turns into another rock and stone card. What do we got? Fortune and Glory. So this allows us to double the resource die, the one that can give us some bonus, either gold or nitra. We can double that result. Not as useful at this moment. We'll just set it up there with the driller. Okay, so we have moved twice. What's under this one? It's a fossil. I guess we already knew what the fossil were, because we know the other fossil is underneath that Praetorian right now. Okay, so it was a double move to get to here. Now it's time to take a shot or two. We are not close enough to do the Plasma Blast strong attack into his behind, but we can just start unloading into him with the upgraded shotgun. We're going to use his last action. Oh, right, I'm on the platform, that's why he's at a weird angle. So we're going to shoot with the Warthog, and that means blue, green, green. This particular weapon would ignore that resistance anyway. So let's get him. Okay, that is 3 hits, which is a full half of that guy's health. That's a lot. And let's do the rock on thing. If we're really lucky and we can get that exact thing again, this is just a free ranged attack action for somebody. And we're going to have that be our engineer with the shotgun again. We'll use primary ammo this time, which we can only do with a secondary weapon because he's got a special upgrade for that. And so we're running these dice back again. And I only got 1 hit this time. So he's got 4 damage marked on him. I don't have any more rerolls in there, do I? Nope, not for our attacks. Still, 4 damage on a Praetorian after moving twice. Very, very good. I feel like I skipped the driller at some point, but no, the driller's up next. Okay, Engineer's Event. They're closing in. Increase the swarm threat by 1, and if this didn't trigger a swarm, activate all creatures. Yep, the swarm tracker is now close to the middle, but this Praetorian is activating. He is definitely targeting the driller in front of him, so we roll 1 die, and if he gets the special, it's a double damage attack. But we got a blank. Well, that was very lucky. I'm getting very lucky on the die rolls here. double check, make sure that he's only got, yeah, only one. Now it is the driller's turn. Wouldn't you know it, I need to walk over the space that he is standing on in order to collect that thing, so we have to kill him. Nobody's immune to being frozen, so I could cryo-cannon him, just hit him with the first thing, and then just unload on him with my plasma charger, because he doesn't resist that. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. So the very first thing, we're gonna use one of the primary ammo on the cryo-cannon. So we'll apply this. He resists 1 bullet, but I got 2, which means he's got only 1 hit point left, and now he is frozen. Excellent, excellent. Now we're going to switch from that over to the experimental plasma charger, which we haven't used at all this game. No, that's going to be his first secondary ammo. Lean over, grab that. There we go. So 1 red die, and it's going to be doubled. We only needed really any attack result to get this done, so that 1 becomes a 2, but he was already on his last hit point, so the Praetorian is no more. So that was 2 actions, we've got 1 more left. So why don't we just move into this space, which we now know contains a fossil. So our second movement gets us to there, and there's our supply. So as soon as we've collected that last fossil, the dropship is going to come back and we can start running back towards it. Let's see, I was thinking, yeah, let's just move into that stalagmite, but no, I've got 1 movement point left, no actions left, so I can't reach that, so let's just end our movement in the stalagmite. Maybe we'll get lucky and get a resource. What do we got? Ooh, a gold! And hey, we got that fortune and glory, we can double the resource die result. So we actually got 2 gold. So yeah, we've got so many resources. And the map is currently clear. Well, we're crushing this one. Okay, that's the end of his turn. Event card. Vantage point. Ooh, I don't think I've seen this card very often. You approach a sheer tower of rock. Being a good dwarf, you feel compelled to climb it and get a good view. If you are not knocked over, look at the top card of either the event or swarm deck. You may then choose whether or not to shuffle that deck. Either way, increase the swarm threat by 1. So I can look at the top of either deck. I mean, we're pretty much on our last round, so I guess I will take a look at what the next event card is, because that will determine. Oh, yeah, this is not a bad one at all. I'm not going to shuffle. Yeah, you can lose a health to fully restock a weapon of your choice. That's not bad. That's not activating creatures or spawning swarms. Well, I can leave that on top. That was his turn. Now we're over to the gunner. Now, tragically, the drop pod has not come back for him yet, so there's no point to like moving him any closer. He's already 1 movement action away from where the drop pod's going to come down. So we're just going to stay put. Let's spend a gold to upgrade his secondary weapon. Aha. Now his Bulldog Heavy Revolver also has a freezing effect. Wahaha. Yeah, there's literally nothing else he needs to do. I guess I can mine that gold out from the wall behind us. Yep, got it easily. There we go. He's got even more of a field of view all around. And we're back up to 5 gold again. And yeah, we will literally just not do anything on for his last action. He is scoping the entire place out. So his event, we know what it's going to be. Tough spot. You spot a lost ammo crate that was left behind on an earlier mission. Unfortunately, it's surrounded by jagged, razor-sharp crystals. So he can take 1 damage to fully restock a weapon of his choice. I mean, up until he upgraded that weapon, he was fully restocked. I'm just going to choose not to. So that has no effect. Gunner's done. Over to the engineer. So as soon as we move onto the space with the fossil, we have completed the mission objectives, but we need to escape. So as soon as we've completed all of the objectives, the drop pod comes back down. If there were any bugs that were in that space, they would have either taken damage or been destroyed. If there were dwarves standing there, they would get moved to the closest open space and be knocked over, because they basically jumped out of the way. You don't have to get back onto the space matching your class, like the gunner doesn't have to go to the gunner spot. In fact, I think I've even reversed this from how it was before. But as soon as all the dwarves are back into the drop pod, it goes back up, and that's the end of the mission. That happened on the first movement point of our action, so 2, 3, and we can go 1, 2, 3, and just move him all the way to the back to clear space for the folks to get in. So now all we have to do is get back in the drop pod. Okay, they're closing in. Increase the swarm threat by 1, which does in fact trigger a swarm. What do we got? What's that buzzing sound? Place 3 grunts at exit 1 and 1 Mactera spawn at exit 2. So let's see, we've got 3 grunts down here with our driller. I suppose they always want to spawn as close to us as possible, so we'll put them in those 2 spaces. And a Mactera spawn is our flying friend, appears at exit 2. Okay, then activate all creatures. Keep wanting to put those in the wrong pile. Let's check his resistances really quick. So the spawn resists fire, but not bullets. Does have 2 health, though. So he's going to get a bullet from that MVP turret. And he got a hit, so our Mactera friend is already down by health. But, well, the grunts are going to go first. So they're going to move right up next to our driller. And this last one can go 1, 2, 3. So they've cut our driller off from the escape path. Bit of a problem there. Yeah, that might extend this one whole round to deal with them. So they've moved. Now, the Mactera spawn, it does have a range of 3. But also, as soon as it activates, the sentry turret takes an attack. So there's a special piece of errata specifically for this situation. They both attack at the same time, which means they can kill each other, if that is how the rolls run. So we are going to roll the green die and a monster die at the same time, and that's what they're going to do to each other. It is attacking the turret, and the turret's attacking him. Okay, well, this looks like a loss for our turret, but we have a card we haven't used all game. Reroll any damage results. So, might as well use that. Let's see if we can save our turret. But the turret did not kill him. Nope, still 1 damage. That didn't help at all. The turret is finally off of the board. Let's see, but that's going to do it for that event phase. So, who is up next? The engineer got in there, so the driller's next. If the gunner was next, he could have moved into position, taken a shot, and freed a spot for our driller to run. Now, if we just ran, is there a way for us to get in there? 1, 2, 3, 3. He's 1 space away from that. Even if he just ran straight into the rock, he could, like, drill there, drill there. No, he couldn't get through that way. But if he went 1, 2, 3, oh, this will work. It's a little bit goofy, but each time if he cuts the corner by drilling into the wall, so if he goes 1, 2, 3, he can open up that space and stand there. Now, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. He made his way around that trap. It did take all of his actions to get there, but he has now reached the drop pod. As soon as the gunner enters, which will be the next turn, hopefully, that will end the mission. What do we got? Uh-oh. Cave Leech attack. Wait. Somebody put into the comments in the last episode, once you get into the drop pod, you don't draw cards for them anymore. That should not happen for the driller. I made a mistake earlier for the engineer. I'm going to find that in the rule just so that I can point specifically to it. But thank you for correcting me on that. I'm gonna find it so I can reference the page. Be right back. Okay, I found it. So it's on the very top of the event cards section. Easy to just skim right past it. But unconscious dwarves and dwarves aboard the drop pod after the objectives have been met don't draw an event card at the end of their turn. So I've actually drawn 1 event card too many because the engineer shouldn't have drawn an event card. So really the swarm, I suppose, shouldn't have been in place yet. I'm just going to skip the one for the engineer card. Really, it didn't change anything because we don't draw one for the driller who just made it in, So now it's the gunner's turn. He just moves straight in there, and we are clear. So we won anyway, but I did at least remember the second person we put into the drop pod that you don't draw events once they're on board the drop pod. And that means we have completed the mission, and the drop pod drills us back out into space. Oh, until we fall out and all die. Mission 2, we're still on the much easier difficulty missions. Yeah, it's actually got ratings on there, so yeah, this is novice. We still totally crushed this mission. Success. Time to go back to the space rig for some brews. We won today. Hopefully we'll have just as good as luck the next time we enter the caverns of Deep Rock Galactic. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hope to see you on the next time. Now that we're actually spinning the wheel, it feels pretty good. Been waiting a few months for that. So see you next time on the finally making sense for the name of the channel, Wheel of Games. See you then. Bye-bye.